Welcome to the O Brother Podcast from your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
How's it going tonight, Dan?
Good, man. We're nothing if not topical and current. We're doing a movie that came out, back in January.
Yeah, something like that.
It's May 19th, 2023, as of this recording, but this is A Man Called Otto, which, of course, was the latest Tom Hanks feature film.
And I saw this a while ago.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I did. It's been a while for me.
It came out January 13th, 2023. And, I was reluctant to see it for no particular reason. It just didn't compel me to want to see it. There was nothing.
Well, you were down on Hanks too.
I was a little down on Hanks. And I'm glad you said that because, because as I've said before in the podcast, I worry about Hanks. And this is sound funny because he's at least a 2-time Oscar winner.
Mm-hmm.
Like the believability. I feel like, oh, this is just Tom Hanks with a hat on, or Tom Hanks in a suit, or just Tom Hanks.
I have Fred Rogers back there.
Right.
So Tom Hanks in a sweater.
Right, Tom Hanks in a sweater with sneakers on. Right.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get more into that. I got to tell you. So I was at a local. It's a national global chain.
Establishment.
Coffee establishment that
Mm-hmm.
I won't mention the name, but they originated out of the Seattle area, perhaps.
And you usually cost you a lot of bucks when you go there.
It usually does cost a lot of bucks when you go when you go there. And so I was there, I don't know, several weeks ago, and they do this thing where they put one cup, they double cup your coffee, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's 2 lids, or at least one lid on 2 cups. So when you go to grab it from them just out of the drive-through or whatever, a lot of times it slips, or if you grab it out of your cup holder, it slips. And I've had coffee all over the car multiple times.
Ooh.
And yeah, and
it's a lawsuit, man. Let's sue.
Well, this establishment isn't known for their boiling hot coffee too. So let's just say that. But so I said, I'm kind of tired of that. And then I'm like, why am I even going to this place anymore? Because they built one within walking distance from where I live. So I said, I'm going to get one of those reusable mugs. Right. And then just do get it that way. Right. So avoid the spills and all the nonsense. So I pull up one morning and I order one of those cups. I'm going through the drive-through and say, hey, I want to, this, that. I'm not going to mention. I want a large. I didn't say large, but you get the drift.
Mm-hmm.
So I ordered a large coffee and I said, can I get one of those, reusable cups too? And, oh yeah, sure. What would you like? I said, I don't know, just pick out something that looks good, And so I get up to the window and the woman helping me had 2 options. And I said, the green one there looks good. And she scanned it. She goes, oh, that's $64. I'm like, wait, what? Okay, that's got to be a mistake.
Yeah.
I said, I know that's how much your coffee costs, but the mug, come on, that's insane.
On. Yeah.
So
$10 for the coffee. All right.
But she looks into it a little bit further, and all of a sudden she says, oh, no, wait a second. It was marked down to $22. I said, okay, it's still kind of high, but okay, that's fine. Mm-hmm. It was some special holiday mug where you could get refills at the time through
So at one time it was legitimately
It was legitimately 60? During the holidays, right? But when you do the math, which I did, it makes sense. It comes out.
Oh, why? Do you get a free coffee when you use the mug? Okay.
Exactly. So it kind of works out. It'd be a good gift for somebody too, right?
Right.
So I've had this for just a few weeks or so, and I've used it a couple times. I don't go there every day. But when I do, I usually go through the drive-through,
Right.
And so I've done that already with the mug. And so I go the other morning. Right. And this seemed topical to me because of the theme of A Man Called Otto, which I'll have you set up here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
This grump,
Mm-hmm.
And I get up to the drive-through window, not the window, I'm ordering. And I say, I got one of those reusable, just to give my heads up, so that way I can drive up and then they just, boom, pour it right in the thing. This woman goes into this long diatribe about how they can't accept that. And, oh, sorry, we're going to have to put your coffee in a cup. And then when you come up, we'll dump it into I'm like, okay, can't you just take it? Well, no, we can't, we've got to. And,
Have you done it before?
I've done it before.
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Well, maybe you should inform all of the locations because they're doing it in other areas, right?
Right.
In other stores, they're doing it."
Right.
Well, yeah, and she's one of these that she wants to continue to reiterate the point even though so then I engage and I wanna just keep going at her because of the how ludicrous this whole situation is, like, I'm just gonna drive up and you're telling me you're gonna waste some of your inventory and only to just turn around and pour it into my cup.
Right.
So, and then she says, "Well, because we can't take personal items through the window," or she's like, now I think she's making things up. I don't know what the rules are, but um, I said, "Okay, it's just black coffee, but because I don't even get anything in my coffee, you
Hmm.
can literally just take the carafe and pour it into my mug."
Black coffee in
But
bed.
still, nope, not acceptable. Whatever. Ah, nice squeeze reference.
Hmm.
Appreciate that. So I'm just like, Okay, sounds good to me." Like I tuned out at that point. I get up to the window and I hand her the mug. And then she, to add insult to injury, "Would you mind removing the lid?" No, sure, that'd be fine. I remove the lid, give her the thing. She pours it. It's like almost spilling over
Right on
the
the
edge.
edge.
She goes, "Is that a
Yeah.
little too much?" I said, "Yeah, I think so." She takes it, dumps it out, and then hands it back, and I'm on my way. But I'm like, really? Did we need to go through that whole do-si do to just
Yeah.
pour some black coffee in a mug?
I'm
So
kind of
what you're
wondering
telling
about
me
that
is
right now.
what you're telling me is there should have been like a warning on the mug when I bought it that said, "Can only redeem this inside the store."
Yeah.
If I'm gonna get all this business when I go through the
Right.
drive-through, right?
Right. Right.
So anyways, doesn't this sound like something Hanks would take up as Otto in this movie?
Probably. Yeah.
So give us the synopsis here.
Well, you said grump, or I don't know what was the
Grump,
word you
yeah.
used, but he is kind of a curmudgeon.
Yeah.
And I like the movie, first off. Let me get that out of
I
the
did
way.
too. I did too.
I didn't love it. I wouldn't,
No,
like
I liked
Road
it.
to Perdition, drop everything, go watch it.
Mhm.
This one's, good watch because I think he's basically playing against type. He's not the nice guy. He's not Geppetto. He's this grouchy guy that you really don't like. He's not
Geppetto.
likable,
Yeah, Geppetto.
right? So, basically, he's a stickler for the rules and the subdivision, which you can relate to with your place.
He was once president of the homeowners
That's
association where he
right.
lives.
That's right. And he checks everyone's car for a sticker. You don't have a sticker. You're not supposed to be coming through here.
Mhm.
Shut the gate. All
Yeah,
these, things. But there's something, you know, beneath all of
underlying that,
this
correct.
that the movie gets into.
Mhm.
So, as a setup, it's a man named Blotto or Otto that
Well, you
likes to
can
get
say
blotto.
you can say, nice Simpsons reference, you can say what is underlying all that.
Well, he lost his wife recently.
Yes.
So he's dealing with the death of his wife, and he's planning on taking his own life.
6 months ago, she passed away. Cancer. I was going to join her.
Yeah, in fact, there's a warning at the beginning of the film, right? That there's some images and some scenes that involve, suicide,
Right.
right? And so there's like a warning. So I knew, okay, so this is going to be kind of heavy
Yeah.
watching it. Um, but yeah, I mean, I thought it was really, I thought it was really good. Like you said, I didn't love it. It wasn't
Mhm.
like a 5 star or anything like that. But
Mhm.
and I was looking at kind of the performance because it's been out a while now. It's been out almost 6 months,
Yeah.
and the budget was 50 million, which I guess for what it is, right? It's
Right.
very
Most,
few sets, and there's no
15,
there's no pyrotechnics or anything going
yeah,
on.
15, 20 of that's him.
Well, yeah, perhaps. So a budget of 50 million. It did. I had to look at this up close, but opening weekend. Now, I don't know, did this come out, was this streaming? Is it one of those where it was streaming at the same time that it was in the theaters? I can't
No,
remember.
no,
Okay.
it got a separate
It did get a
release. Yeah.
theatrical release. Okay.
Yeah.
Opening weekend, $56,257.
But see, you got how many screens?
I don't know.
See, that's what you got to look at.
But I mean, that's pretty paltry.
Well,
56,000?
it might have opened just in LA and
True,
in New
true.
York.
Now the worldwide gross, it's made its money back.
Yeah.
It's over 112 million.
Yeah. So to me,
So
that's
it's,
what that
and I
kind of
think that's
screams
decent
of.
for a movie like this. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Now it's directed by Marc Forster. Do you know Marc Forster?
The name's familiar.
Well, check this out. So I looked up his resume, and I in kind of in order of most recent feature films that he directed. Christopher Robin, which came out in 2018,
Right. That's
which
with
was
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor, right?
Hmm.
World War Z, he directed
Okay. With
in
Brad Pitt.
2013. Yeah. Um, here you go. You ready? 2008's Bond entry, Quantum of Solace, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Not a great one, but
No, but still, he directed a Bond film.
it's a
That's
Bond
something to
film.
put on your resume. And then going back to 2001, he directed Monsters Ball with Halle Berry and Billy Bob Thornton.
Academy Award winner.
Yeah. So I was surprised. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
The name wasn't as recognizable, of
The
course,
name,
from the film.
Quantum of Solace, because Casino Royale was so good
Yeah.
that anything after that was going to be a letdown.
Now, let me jump ahead to the ratings, okay, since we're talking about the performance of the film. So IMDb, which is more your go-to, 7.5 out of 10,
That's high.
51 Metascore.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
7.5, yeah.
Okay.
And then Rotten Tomatoes, just to compare, the critics 69% and the audience 97%, which I can see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't read a lot of the critical reviews, but what do you think maybe that would be attributed to
Well,
on the critic side?
I just don't think there's anything special there as far as, the film.
Is it Groundhog Day with a little bit more drama, or
Yeah. I mean, I it's lower than I thought, but
from the critics? Yeah.
yeah, but not crazy lower than I thought.
And going back to when we talked about Hanks, and I'm always sort of, these, and I love Tom Hanks.
Right.
I have since Bosom Buddies, going way back. But
Yeah.
I right away I had no issue. I don't know if it was his the not his accent, but his speech in the film, and he was very thin. He was very, very thin. But I don't know, just the way he played it or something, I was immediately kind of like, yeah, okay, suspending the fact that, this Tom. I saw him as this curmudgeon, as this guy,
Right.
pretty much from the jump,
It's kind of like we were watching this show on HBO called Barry,
Yeah.
and the woman who plays, is it Sarah? Is that her name?
Mhm.
She's in this really dark place,
Yeah.
and the actress plays it so well.
Yeah. She's great.
It's not fun to be depressed, and it's not fun to play depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what he's doing here, and he gets into this dark space, which you can only imagine. He was probably no picnic to be married to, but he obviously loved his wife quite a bit, and that loss was crushing
Yes.
to him.
Although she left him with a message of, we need to continue to live.
But now I think she wants me to keep living. And I have things to do.
I mean, it isn't like she gave him any reason or excuse to feel sorry for himself or anything like that. But, a lot of people go through that, of course, when they're grieving a spouse or, a loved one.
And, I can relate to living by myself and having neighbors trying to engage me and me just not wanting to engage them.
You're talking current day.
I'm talking through my life, right?
Right, yeah.
Because I'm kind of that kind of person. I'm kind of the guy that's next to you, waves high, is pleasant.
Not quite Howard Hughes, but a recluse nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely a recluse,
Yeah.
and definitely somebody that, if you like come over to my house and bring me cookies, I'm like, okay, what is this?
Well, I mean, we've gotten very much like that in society in general, haven't we? It's like we're
Yeah,
very sort of skeptical of any niceties,
right.
and
And
yeah.
he has these neighbors that are very persistent, and I can relate to this quite well
Mhm.
about wanting to, wanting good things for him, wanting him to be happy,
Right.
wanting him to engage. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? And
Despite his obvious, refusal to do so,
right.
you
And
know?
unlike that's where we differ is I will, play nice, where he doesn't even play nice.
No.
He's like, the cat, get the cat. What's that cat doing here? There's a leash law. Get him on a leash,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
they try to give him the cat.
ironically, there's this whole theme about a weak heart, that plays into it because he's got a heart condition, and
Mhm.
unlike the Grinch, his was a few sizes too big, as it turns out.
Right, right.
And that plays into it as the story unfolds as well, but I just like the kinda symbolism of that as a
Mhm.
guy who's got this big heart, but yet nobody sees that in terms of how he cares for them or interacts with them, and
Right.
I thought that was kinda neat. It was interesting, we did on the previous episode, we did the review of the Michael J. Fox documentary about, of course, his, life with Parkinson's, and
Mhm.
it was much more than that, but, of course, heavily focused on that. And that's also a storyline in this as well because his neighbor, this African American couple that lived next door to him,
Mhm.
the wife actually has Parkinson's and doesn't tell him. This is the
And
interesting thing too, right? These are all again very genuine people,
yeah.
caring, compassionate, empathetic people. It's
And
funny
these were his friends. This
they were his
this
friends,
couple
right?
were his friends when
That's
they
right.
were married,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
they did couple things.
Right. Her name's Anita, and you find out she's got Parkinson's, and her husband is confined to a wheelchair and really doesn't speak or anything.
It's
And
really like dementia.
it's
I
really,
think he's
yeah,
in the early to mid stages of dementia
right, right.
because he's just
Um,
not there.
no, and I gotta say that. Well, you mentioned they were friends,
Mhm.
and there's actually some scenes with he and the gentleman neighbor
Right.
when they're much younger. There's this whole montage of them, like, they're friends, but then there's this weird competition that starts taking place over the cars that
The
they buy,
cars,
whether
right,
it's a Ford or
or
it's
a
a
Chevy.
or a Chevy, and then his neighbor really makes things worse when he buys a Toyota.
Oh
That just
gosh, yeah.
fractured the relationship entirely.
I can
Um,
remember that time, where it was American cars,
oh yeah, American made all the
and,
way, etc. Even though half the guts were, from
the interesting thing too is in those flashbacks,
uh
Tom Hanks' real life son plays him,
yes, thank you for bringing that up.
and
What's
it's
his
not
first?
Colin,
No,
which
it's
people know
it
because
is
no, but this is the first time I've seen him. I didn't know of this son. I know he has a
oh,
younger son that's a rap.
Truman Hanks. Truman Hanks.
Truman.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
should have both known
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And
But
there's a younger child Otto as well named Bodie Wilson, played by Bodie Wilson too.
mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, Truman, who I had never seen before, I thought did a really good job
He
because
did a very good job.
it
Yeah.
wasn't like it was
Did
a
a really good job.
small part. It was a pretty
No,
significant.
absolutely. No, I mean, I wouldn't slap the Nepo baby label on him. I think he did a great job and
Right.
held his own in it just fine. Now, I gotta say, we talk about performances. Okay,
Mhm.
for me, Mariana Treviño, who
Mhm.
is a Mexican actress, she plays Marisol, which is one of the new neighbors. Her
They
and her
just
husband,
moved in.
Tommy come rolling into town and
Yeah.
make their presence known pretty loudly. Guy's trying to back up a U-Haul, and he just does not know how to steer a trailer, which isn't the easiest thing in the world to do. God forbid our father was watching that happen. He would have made Otto look like, Mr. Rogers, quite
Get out, get
frankly.
out, get out.
Yeah, let me handle
Let me
this. Let me handle
you know,
this. But
30 years old and can't park a trailer. Yeah.
Mariana Treviño, I
Mhm.
thought for me, she stole this movie. She was fantastic
Yeah,
in this
she
film.
was definitely a scene stealer.
She was so natural on camera,
Mhm,
and she was so funny and so poignant at times. Yeah, I mean, she had a lot of scenes with him. I mean, they were
mhm.
really the 2 big stars of the film, in my opinion. I think
Yeah,
that's pretty clear.
and she was the one that really had to crack
Yes,
his code.
that's right. And, the beautiful thing about it too, one of the most beautiful moments for me was as the story goes on, um, he's looking at this sort of Hispanic couple coming into the neighborhood, and he's not judging them necessarily on that,
Mhm.
but clearly this guy is probably not the most embracing of diversity on the block.
And they've already got 3 kids, and she's,
Right.
9 months.
Exactly. But fast forward to later in the story, they convince him to babysit their kids.
Right,
And while he's doing that, he also does what? He installs a dishwasher for them, and this is the
right,
thing, right? There's the big heart coming out.
right.
Um, but anyways, he's babysitting the kids, and while he's doing that, he notices a diploma on the wall and discovers that Marisol actually has a master's degree
Mhm,
in like Spanish literature or something like that from New York.
mhm.
And that seems to really endear him even more to her because remember, he says more than once in the film, "You're no dummy."
Right.
The world is full of complete idiots who have managed to figure it out, and you are not a complete idiot.
So they form a really nice relationship. It was a nice interplay between the two. And,
Yeah, he or she does not know how to drive,
Mhm.
and
Not only does he teach her how to drive,
right.
he teaches her how to drive using a stick shift.
Correct, correct, which is actually, I learned on a stick shift as well,
Mhm.
which is kind of odd.
Well, I
Um,
learned to drive a stick shift in a box truck. I tried doing that's not the
when you were
easy way to go.
delivering stuff,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Right, right.
No, I to this day have struggled with a stick shift because you
Mhm.
have to be and when I learned it was on the, column,
Yes.
reverse,
Yeah.
reverse, you push all the way and down.
Right.
There wasn't like a stick.
I
It
mean, those came
was
right off the Ford assembly line. You had one of the first ones that that they
I forget
got.
what it was. It was like a Comet or, some piece of
Yeah.
crap like
The steering wheel
that.
was like this big.
Yeah, and I don't even know why I learned on that. I think it was because we had this Jeep,
Mhm.
and in the
Yes.
winter, the Jeep had a plow. So I needed to learn a stick shift because I needed to drive the plow.
The tough thing is when you learn a stick and then you get away from it for a while and you get that phantom clutch disease
Yes.
where you think there's a clutch and there isn't.
Yes.
It's kinda weird. It's like, Robert Cloud, "I can't stop my leg.
I can't stop my leg.
Yeah.
I can't stop my leg." Yeah, I mean, we mentioned the relationship, between, Hanks's character, Otto, and then the neighbor.
Mhm.
There's some deep fake in this. It was somewhat subtle. You remember when they showed them younger with the montage I mentioned when they were competing with the cars that they
Yeah.
bought?
Yeah.
So, I don't did you have any thoughts about the deep fake? It was just weird to see.
I'm not even sure what you're
Oh, you don't
talking
remember?
about.
Well,
No.
when they went back to do the montage of the
Yeah.
cars, it was, they were going back in time like 30 years.
Right.
And so it was Hanks and that other actor on
Right.
these other people's bodies. It was a weird you didn't pick up on it wasn't like it
I
was
didn't
him and them current day. They're like in their 70s. I mean, you
Yeah,
didn't pick up on that?
I didn't
Oh,
pick up
go
on it.
back and watch it now because
I'll
it's
have to
really
check it out.
strange. It's strange
'Cause
looking.
it's like I said, it's been a while since I've
Yeah.
seen it.
Yeah, it's kinda strange looking. He
And it's
has a
just now, I think, coming out on,
it's on Netflix.
DVD.
Oh, okay,
Is it
okay,
on
yeah.
Netflix
It's on
already?
Netflix, yeah,
Wow,
that's where I
yeah, and
saw
it's
it.
the DVD I saw on the shelf this week.
What you must have liked his relationship with the cat.
Of course,
Uh,
although I would have taken the cat in right away,
I know, he leaves him out in the cold and then
Right.
almost freezes to death at one point,
Yeah.
um, fortunately, that worked out in the end. So he had a condition called hypertrophic Cardiomyopathy was the name of it. And again, we talked about that, the weak heart and all of that. Some of the other performances, his wife, Sonia, was played by Rachel Keller. There's a character in it, one of the neighbors named Malcolm, who was a student of his wife because she was a teacher. She was like a high school teacher or middle school or something, elementary maybe even. And this transgender character named Malcolm, played by Mark Beta,
Is he the one that's always walking?
riding a bike.
Riding the bike.
Yeah, and he delivers the papers or whatever.
Right.
And Otto gets pissed at him because he's like throwing them in the snow or something.
Yeah.
But eventually they come to, form a bond.
And then there's another guy that is just a walker. He's always walking.
Oh, that's Jimmy.
Right.
Jimmy's
And
walking
he
down the
used
street.
to have dinner with them.
Yeah.
Like every week.
Yeah. Super nice guy, a little odd,
Right.
but
Right.
He's always out doing his calisthenics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Tommy, which is Marisol's husband, was played by Manuel Garcia-Rulfo. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but hopefully I am. And he was great too. He was really, he had some good comic relief and kind of the clown. He had to play sort of the punchline.
He was trying to fix a window and he fell off the ladder, and
he just wasn't very inclined to do much of anything,
Right.
Yeah, clearly he couldn't put in a dishwasher. He couldn't. He couldn't, park the car, all that stuff. But yeah, I liked it. I would recommend it. It's funny, having resisted it, and then I was like, you know what, I really enjoyed it. It was heartfelt. I'm a sucker for that stuff. So like, did I shed a tear or two? Perhaps. I will not confirm, deny that. But I just want to say again, Mariana Treviño as Marisol was just, I thought she gave such a beautiful performance in this. I mean, to me, it was like award winning. I thought it was that good. I really did. I really did. Because it was just it seemed so effortless.
Yeah.
And she had to play like this incredible range of emotions.
Right.
And then to have to, befriend him eventually, and then kind of take on, not the burden, but be sympathetic to his loss. And it's just, I don't know. It was really nice. Really
and
nice.
there was a couple of heavy moments where he tries to kill himself.
Yeah.
And ironically fails.
Which I didn't find, I don't know if they were intending for any of those to be a little humorous. I can't say if, I don't know if that's because we've got experience with that topic in our lives, but
yeah, I don't think so.
It didn't ring as humorous, because like he'd be going to do it and then he'd get interrupted by the doorbell or something. And
or
it was such an insane juxtaposition.
Didn't the gun go off by accident?
He had a gun at one point. It blew a hole in the ceiling.
Yeah.
Told a similar story in the Oh Father episode that we put out a little while back. Go back and check that out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so A Man Called Otto, streaming now. You're saying it's out on DVD?
It's out on DVD or Blu-ray.
Have you seen it? There's got to be some extras on there.
It's not one that I would buy, and I'm very picky when it comes to what I buy as far as my collection. But
where do you, Legally Blonde 1 and 2? Where are those? Which rack is that on?
Those have never been in my
I
collection.
don't know. We'll see about that.
They were probably in my DVD collection. That's when I used to buy like everything that came out that week.
Yeah.
But I don't, I probably have in this crazy collection about the only thing I have on DVD now is either concerts that they just never put on Blu-ray.
Or sports, maybe sports things.
Yeah, there's like the Red Sox when they had the real good box sets where you got every game.
Yeah, that was amazing.
But SNL, I have a lot of SNL, like the best of Dana Carvey, the best of Adam Sandler.
She's chopping broccoli.
Yeah. For some reason, they didn't port them to Blu-ray.
Chopping broccoli. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for this review of A Man Called Otto and another episode of the Oh Brother podcast. I've been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith. And we will see you next time.
Bye, everyone.